Well, it's William Wednesday today, and I wanted to go over a sonnet of his. The issue is I've been going in order, so with Spenser's Amoretti, I started with sonnet number 1, and part of the reason for that is because I think that there actually is an order in his sonnets that there isn't really in Shakespeare's sonnets. But another reason for that is because I've just enjoyed reading them in order. Same with Milton. But with Shakespeare, I did want to start out of order because really I wanted to go over one of my favorite sonnets, and Shakespeare's 138th sonnet is just the best of the best. So I thought it'd be a good thing to go over sonnet 138 first. The other thing about sonnet 138 for me is that it is a special sonnet, since it's one of the first sonnets that I ever heard or learned from that really inspired me to want to write poetry myself. It inspired me to want to study poetry more, and part of the reason for that is just because there's so much going on in the poem that to me seems exactly right. Poetry has that way with words. When we hear something poetic, we believe it, right? It has a form of truth to it that is very difficult to argue with, and it's so carefully and meticulously crafted, right? Whenever you're quoting a poem, you can't really paraphrase it. Of course you can paraphrase it, but the issue is it's the exact way how the words were said that make it so beautiful, right? So I'm gonna read it first, and then we'll get into it. I'm not going to have much commentary on this because I actually think that this is one of those poems that is extremely intuitive. As you read it, it's not difficult to see the scenario. It's not difficult to not difficult to not trust what Shakespeare is saying, and I think you'll see what I mean in a second. So here it is. When my love swears that she is made of truth, I do believe her, though I know she lies. That she might think me some untutored youth, unlearned in the world's false subtleties. Thus, vainly thinking that she thinks me young, although she knows my days are past the best. Simply, I credit her false speaking tongue on both sides, thus is simple truth suppressed. But wherefore says she not she is unjust? And wherefore says not I that I am old? Oh, love's best habit is in seeming trust, and age in love loves not to have years told. Therefore, I lie with her, and she with me, and in our faults by lies we flattered be. I love this poem so much. So yeah, one of the reasons why I love this poem is because it's funny, right? When my love swears that she is made of truth, I do believe her, though I know she lies, right? And so when you first read this, there is a face value to the poem, which is very clear, right? My love, my spouse, my girlfriend, whatever you want to call it, she says that I tell the truth, right? And I believe her. But I know she's lying. The only reason why I'm believing her is because I also have a lie that I want to have kept, right? And so what is that lie? Okay, well, the girl's lie is that double entendre of the word lie, right? So she lies saying, no, you're not old. you're not old. And he's like, yes, I'm not old, right? Because old people don't want to be called old, right? They don't like being reminded of their age. They want to feel the spring of youth. And so when somebody flatters them with them being young, they're going to take it, right? Just like ugly people that know that they're ugly, if they're told that they're pretty, they're going to believe it, right? They want that. And so there's that aspect. But of course, the double meaning in the word lies is that she's sleeping around, right? So no, I'm not sleeping with anybody. Okay, sure, yeah, you're not. But of course she is, right? And why does he lie? That she might think me some untutored youth, right? So if I believe your lie, then I'm just some stupid little kid, right? A kid is naive enough to believe a lie, and not an old person. So when he is saying, yes, I do believe you, even though that I know you're lying, the reason why he's doing that is to keep up his own facade, right? Unlearned in the world's false subtleties, thus vainly thinking that she thinks me young, right? So he thinks, yeah, she's got to think that I'm young, even though he knows that she doesn't. He does this out of vanity, right? Although she knows my days are past the best. So how is this even possible? Well, it says, simply I credit her false speaking tongue, right? So how does he end up in a situation where he's an old guy dating a younger girl and believing what she's saying about him being young and her not sleeping around or lying to him? Well, it's simply, right? Simply I credit her false speaking tongue. So he does it out of simplicity, not out of complexity. He's actually rejecting the complicated nature of the world, and it is a simple task. And what happens in this web of lies that's being told between old man and young woman? On both sides, thus is simple truth suppressed. So not only is the simplicity of the false speaking tongue crediting her lie, but also the simple truth of the matter is also being suppressed. So false speaking lies are simple to make, right? You think that I'm young? Cool, I'm young, right? Very, very simple lie, but whatever, I'll take it. I'm not sleeping around. Great, I'll take that too. And then the truth is also suppressed, right? So this is actually, a clear allusion to Romans 1, right? In their wickedness, they suppress, in their unrighteousness, they suppress the truth, right? So is this a just thing to do? No, they're just lying because they don't want to face the truth. They want to suppress it. And why do they suppress the truth? They suppress the truth because they don't want to deal with the world, even though the truth is very simple. If you're 80 years old, and I don't really think it seems to me like he's probably like a 50 or 60-year-old guy dating like a 20 or 30-year-old girl. But who knows? And so if you're 60, nobody's going to believe you if you say that you're 20, right? It's a simple truth. But wherefore says she not, she is unjust. Okay, so when I first read this, I had no idea what was going on, but the word wherefore means why. So, but why says she not, she is unjust. Okay, so now we have to break down the says she not, she is unjust. Okay, let me slow it down a little bit. And why says she not? So why doesn't she say, right? But wherefore says she not, she is unjust. So why doesn't she say that she's unjust? And then the same exact question, and wherefore say not I that I am old? So why does she not say that she's unjust? And why does he not say that he is old? Oh, love's best habit is in seeming trust. And in poetry, either implied or literal, that word seeming is one of the heaviest words, I think, in the English language, because it is a word that allows for the face value of something to be entertained, while at the same time recognizing that there's probably something else going on, right? So he seems just, he seems young, right? And that actually is perhaps true, right? To be an old person naive enough to believe a young person is something that seems like a young person's game. But once you uncover that surface, below the surface, you see that no, it wouldn't make any sense for a young person to lie about their age, in the wanting to be younger, right? I'm 17, I want to be 16, right? No, that doesn't make any sense. If you're 17, you want to be 21 so you can drink, right? You want to be 18 so you can smoke cigarettes, but you're not going to be 17 wanting to be younger, right? You want respect. Okay, well, the old person has had his or her respect. He wants to be young again. He wants to feel the vigor in his bones. He wants the warm blood to not bleed cold, right? Oh, love's best habit is in seeming trust. So what is the seeming in this particular case? The seeming is of trust, right? And that word seeming is also just a beautiful word, because there is a web of lies being sown, and so it is forming a seam, right? S-E-A-M. So not only are we talking about seeming as though it seems this way or seems that way, but also that these strings that are put together, the knots start to tie more. And so in Ecclesiastes, we read that 3 strings tied together are not easy to break, right? So these lies are very simple, but they are seamed together, right? And that is love's best habit. So love actually doesn't necessarily trust whatever somebody is saying, but it seems like it is, right? So your spouse you love, and so there's things that you can't stand about them, and you don't bring it up. Everyone has a lie that they tell themselves, and so that is why the truth is suppressed, right? The Christian has to read this and struggle with this, though, because we also read that we worship God in spirit and in truth, right? And so the Christian's journey does involve learning to reject lies, even lies that you've told yourself, even lies in love, right? An age in love loves not to have years told. And this is a nature observation that Shakespeare is making, where he says that love loves not to have years told. So love wants to remain young, but also what is he referencing here when he says love? So love loves not to have years told. Well, what is the nature of the both the goddess Venus and Cupid? Well, Cupid is a little baby, right? And then Venus is a young woman. And so in both cases, love is represented as youthful, as young. And so Shakespeare is saying love loves not to be told old, right? To have years told. And what is the consequence of this? Well, therefore, I lie with her, and she with me. And in our faults by lies, we flattered be. So he gets to sleep with her, and she gets to sleep with him, right? Young people, they want freedom, right? So there's a sexual freedom, obviously, but then there is also the with a young girl, maybe he's a sponsor. So she gives him money, and he goes, yeah, sure, I trust you. And he does not trust her, but he's not going to tell her that because he gets to lie with her, right? And she lies back to him and tells him that he's young, right? And in our faults by lies, we flattered be. And so the goal of the lie is to lie with one another, in every sense of the word, to lie to each other, to lie with each other, to lie about each other. And the goal in that lying is to flatter oneself. So this is a great poem. One of my favorite things about this poem is that it's funny, right? I do believe her, though I know she lies. That is a line I quote all the time. It's hilarious, right? And I quote this to my young students. I quote this to my friends, right? When they're saying, oh, well, I just jumped off a 100-foot building with no parachute. Oh, I do believe you, though I know you lie, right? This poem is so genuine at the same time, right? So even though the poem is about lying, there is a beauty in the poem, because in the formation of the lie, the truth is actually being revealed, and it's being revealed in its absurdity. And so I think that this is such a beautiful poem because it also reveals to us that this is the same absurdity that we live under, right? That we lie to ourselves, we lie to one another, and we do it to flatter ourselves, when in reality, there is a grossness to this poem as well, because we see that in their lying, at the end of the day, they're just liars, right? And she's still a young, naive girl. He's still an old, wretched man. And together, although they lie, really all that's happening is they're flattering themselves and making themselves more unknown. Thank you. I hope that you enjoyed this. I love talking about poetry, and I hope that this inspires you to enjoy poetry the same as it did for me. I plan to do another video later today on Francis Bacon's Of Truth, or On Truth. And then I also plan to finish up Spencer's Proem, but we'll see. That video is going to take a little bit longer, so it might not be something that I get done today, although I hope that happens. So I hope that the Lord blesses you.